girls, Steve the Builder here. Today we're looking at castles as I promised, and the Smurfs have come back to see us work again, so that's wonderful to have them. They're interested in seeing what happens. They want to be involved in our castle project, so we'll see how that goes.
I see little Bunny's there too.
Yeah, Bunny's involved. He loves being involved. So we're going to start off with just me making some castle parts out of boxes. I've got a whole selection of boxes here, and you can use any boxes to make a castle. I'll make that one to start with, the porridge box. And I've made some tins to make a tower, and I've just sticky taped them together at the moment. And that could be the top of the tower maybe. We'll have to think about that. Or we might want to put a cone on the top, like a minaret. So I'll just go over how we make cones. We take a plate and draw a circle around the plate. And then we cut that circle out. Now, depending how far you want the cone to point up is how much of the circle you cut, but we'll cut the whole thing today, just in case we need it. See, I don't move the scissors, I just move the item I'm cutting. The scissors stay facing the same way. Then we cut right to the very middle. And then we get the edges and we make our cone by overlapping them. So we decide how big we want the cone to be. And we can chop off a bit of the circle, we can chop a big chunk out of it because we don't need that much as it's turned out. You can make a really steep cone if you wanted out of the bit that's left. That would be amazingly steep. Let's sort of see how steep that would be. So we don't really want it that steep. We want one reasonably steep, but not too big. So it's got to go on top of this tower. So we just come around to about the size we want, a bit steeper maybe. And then we can mark it off. Cut a bit more out of it. Glue the edge with some glue. Up to our mark that we made. And then stick it down like so. There we are. Now if it doesn't work out perfectly, that's no worries. You can always trim it off later on. But that will do for now. To make a nice top to the tower. So that's just a refresher because we did that when remember when we were making parts for rocket ships, nose cones and so forth in the old days. So just put the tower over to one side here, and let's look at making a box into part of our castle. Now I'll be keen to see what sort of castles you guys make, because when we finish this castle, let's put that down here for now. When we finish the castle, we're going to make some people to go in the castle out of some blocks, because you'll see right here I've cut some blocks, and we'll stick some people on those that I've printed off, and you can use those to play in the castle. So I'm going to make this box into the start of my castle. Okay, so I could just do that, and I could paint the front, or I could stick a bit of paper on it, a bit of brown paper. What I've done is I've made a front out of a piece of cardboard that I've cut. Let's see, I've cut this piece of cardboard a bit like a castle. I'm going to draw a door on it. You could make a drawbridge in front of that, maybe, if I wanted to. But I can just stick that with some double-sided tape onto the front of my box, and then the castle's underway. Could introduce a tower, maybe this lovely tower here with a top on it, Linda had, or a different size tower here. Starting to look like a castle, Linda, do you think?
It does.
So with this one that I've stuck some sticky tape, what would probably make it look nicer is if I actually stick some paper onto it on the outside just to make it nicer. And I'd probably do it like so, on a bigger piece of paper. Or if I'm just doing the outside so you can see, I could do it this way. And that would look much more attractive. Like that. So that's making a castle. Let's look at some people for our castle. Now, we talked about blocks yesterday. Well, I cut lots of blocks and I'll just put those out of the way so we can get some more space. Here are my blocks. I made just sawn those off, a piece of 2x1, and it's going to fold up. So what I did next was print off some pictures on some paper. Who do you think that looks like? You guessed it, it's Elsa. So let's just do a bit of glue on the back of her.
The boys and girls also could draw a picture of Elsa themselves and cut round here, couldn't they?
I think that's a really good idea.
Some really clever people at
Because
drawing.
there's much better drawers than I am. I meant to suggest that idea. So thanks for remembering. So we can just paste her on there. Now she's ready to go and stand at the castle door. Depending on the size of the person is the size of the block. So my favourite character I've already made. Guess who it is? Little Gnome. He's my favourite book. So you could make a castle for him, or you could make his house, make it a tree. Instead of the castle, you could make a tree for him to live in. Little Gnome could come and live in the tree. But of course you might want someone to come and live with Elsa, and who better to live with Elsa, I guess, than Prince Hans. Now you don't have to make them on blocks like so. You could put them on a piece of cardboard. So let's look at putting this on a piece of cardboard. You need to put it up the top of the piece of cardboard. So let's just put some glue on here. Glue stick. Put it up the top of the piece of cardboard, because what I'm going to do now is fold that along the bottom. Now it's a good idea to score it with some scissors or with a knife. I'm just going to use the edge of the scissors to make a score line.
So when you score it, Steve, you don't cut it, do you?
No, it just makes a mark that goes through the cardboard, so when you fold it, it goes on the line that you've just done. See? Like that.
You just gently go across.
It's called scoring rather than cutting, and then you can stand her up, you see. So she's got two Elsas at the moment, one on a block and one on a card. And the beauty is you can make any size you want. There's a prince.
Perhaps, Stephen, we could add some of these fairy tale characters to our Magic Land.
That would be fun.
Or even out your little castle here.
I've actually made one to scale, a little prince to go with our princess. It's a little bit taller, that block, but that's because he is. And they can come and live in the castle. So let's just make this castle stand up with some tape. I learned how to loop the tape last time. You take a piece of tape, you use scissors to cut it off if it's tough like this, or sellotape's fine. I'm just going to make a little loop, double-sided. Then it's sticky on both sides. And when it's sticky on both sides, it can hold something on. So if I just pop that there in the box, do one more just to hold it at the top part. Could use glue or hot glue gun to do this. That should do the trick. There you are, the castle standing up. So let's have the princess and the prince about to go in the door. And then let's have little gnome visiting them. Little gnome's on his way to his uncle's house, of course, if you remember, but in this story he's going to visit the castle. So that's a good idea. So we could take these to our Magic Land when we've done, Linda. It would be great to have them in Magic Land, wouldn't it?
Lovely.
So until next time, boys and girls, look after your parents and be good for them. Bye-bye.